And then we're
welcome, Wax Chronicles viewer and special guest star
co-host.
Jesse Pitts, soon to be future guest again. Welcome back, guys. Sorry for the. I think we were on a 2 week hiatus.
Only a 1
1
week. Only
1 week
not bad.
hiatus.
I know that everybody's waiting for the in-person version, but they're gonna have to wait for that, dude. That's a Patreon exclusive.
Yeah. That'll.
Since we have no Patreons, you'll never know if it actually happens.
Exactly, dude. I was like, if Patreon content is released in the woods and nobody's there to purchase it, does it really exist?
I would have botched that trying to get through it.
I blacked out the second half. So, but no, we obviously.
Speaking of which, let's do the. Is it you can't see a forest for the trees?
I've heard it both ways. You can't see the trees for the forest. I don't.
Anyway,
everybody's lying. None of that shit's real. Yeah. But no, we holiday season traveling, hanging out with family and stuff. That was more important than this stupid podcast that nobody listens to. So
no, it's not, dude. This podcast is more important than family.
Until next year, we're gonna have to set the bar pretty high. Next year, we're gonna have to do a fucking live recording if somehow possible in the winter months. That's me going down there, you coming up here or something. That'd be sick to get J-Man and Kurt in there too. But
yeah.
Looks like you guys have to hang around for another year and watch all these crap episodes leading up to that.
Oh, so. They're about to start getting real good. They're gonna start getting good. We got some plans in the works.
Oh yeah, big stuff.
They're gonna get good. They're gonna get stuff, to us,
guys.
To us.
Well, I guess I don't know. There's nothing too pressing. It's kind of like the weird. There's like the early season doldrums, and I feel like the late season doldrums. I feel like we're past the beginning point of the season. There's been no trades really, save for the Rajon Rondo.
Breaking Denzel news Valentine. To this podcast. Yeah. You broke it here first.
Look at that, guys. I'm connected. But no, I mean it's just been a really quiet part of the season where usually there's some trade stuff, but between
quiet,
and I think the COVID stuff has just totally.
Yeah, I was about to say quiet in regard to trades, but absolutely just unbelievably. What's the word I'm looking for? Just like crazy. I mean, for lack of a better term. With all the COVID stuff. So
it sucks because as NBA fans, we're usually spoiled with drama that we do like 365 days a year. But the last, I'd say, month of following NBA basketball has been breaking news, but of the depressing variety where just every day it seems like it's starting to slow down a little bit though.
Yeah, I agree. But I will say that, and this is something you and I have talked about privately, is I hate that people are getting COVID, and I feel bad for them. I hope that every single person who gets it is okay and doesn't have symptoms. But the flip side of the coin is it has unlocked a pool of players that I never thought I'd see in the NBA game and in the NBA again, and it's made me so excited and happy. Even if it's only for like 5 minutes a game for a 10-day contract, and that's
Trust me, dude.
I mean, that's a segue into we've talked about Bailey's favorite player. Somehow has found his way third stint on the Pacers.
There's a God somewhere. If
asshole.
The entire Pacers franchise is a dumpster fire. They can't get their story straight to the media. 1 week it's full rebuild. The next week it's, hey, we won a game. Let's not rebuild. Let's see where this goes. And it's like, okay, you're still like 9 games below 500 or something.
Hey man, all you got to get is that 10 spot, dude. You can win the title.
It's looking highly unlikely. I think they're a game back at the 10 spot, but no, I mean, it's just in a season with very few bright spots. Not like obviously the COVID stuff trumps the Pacers' failings as a team. That's more important than any one team's individual success or failure this year. But between the COVID and the Pacers and the Lakers, this has been a very dark season for my NBA fandom. Those are probably the 3 things I care the most about, and I feel like it's all gone to shit on all 3 fronts. So to get a little bright spot that is born ready Lance Stevenson, back home, it's actually I watched his first game back, and it just I don't know, man. There's just something special about him in a Pacers jersey.
He hit I was watching what the fuck was it? I think I was watching it, or I was watching the like extended or
Highlights.
marquee matchup on NBA TV, and he hit
Mm,
his first jump shot. It was like that two from like kind of I don't want to say baseline, but kind of headed towards the baseline. I was
hmm.
like, this motherfucker,
Yeah.
this
Which like
motherfucker.
it's not the first time we've seen him on the NBA court this year. I think he had a 10-day with the Hawks and it was kind of so there. I just feel like the best chance Lance has at succeeding in the NBA again, and I know this is just blind homerism, but just feels like it's in Indiana. That's where his career has made the most sense time and time again.
Yeah,
It's kind of like I don't know, he can't figure it out elsewhere, but there's still some magic in Indiana for him. So,
no,
but
dude, the
enough of
Magic in Orlando.
shut up. Shut the
Get
fuck up.
it right.
Casual NBA podcast. Don't even know team locations. But no, it's been exciting to see, and there's quite a few other players that you're just kind of like. I mean, we talked about it last week, but the fact that Joe Johnson was even, I mean, that's
Unbelievable.
just unreal to me.
Talk about where it all made sense. This is a little bit of me
True,
poking fun. It's like he came into the league in Boston, and if that's his
true.
last stint, that'd be pretty sweet.
Hey, I still got the is it 2000, 2001?
Oh, 102, I think he was.
Oh, 102 Topps Chrome Refractor rookie card of his.
Fuck
That's
you.
a prized possession.
I want that.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't like the Celtics at all, but the more every time I look at their jerseys, I'm just like, God, the Celtics
Oh
have
my.
sweet jerseys, man. I love their
Yeah.
green jerseys.
Oh my gosh, dude. That one they have that has like I think the outline kind of like different block lettering. I
You
forget
like that?
which.
I like the traditional green.
Don't get me wrong, but that jersey too, like, has grown on me through the season. When I first saw it, I was just like, oh, whatever. But now it's like when I see that on the court, I'm just like, holy shit, that looks clean.
Dude, speaking of jerseys, dude, I love when Brooklyn wears. I mean, like we're recording on Monday, like usual. Um, I stepped aside. We're stepping aside from the Nets Grizzlies game on TV. But dude, when they wear the Nets jerseys that have like the New Jersey Nets, like old school, not old school, but like 2000s,
Mhm.
like fonts and stuff, I fucking
Oh
love that,
yeah,
man.
yeah,
I didn't realize how much I've missed that. Like I've never been a big fan of the Brooklyn Nets color scheme and like jerseys and how simplistic they are and boring to me. But
yeah. They just seem like a team that has a pretty weak, like stylistic identity.
yeah, and everybody
Maybe the
jacks it off. It's
weakest.
like, oh,
Yeah,
the black and white, they don't have a primary color. It's like, I don't know. They're trying so hard to like make a statement by only being
yeah.
black and
The
white
most
for
basic,
us.
most
Yeah.
minimal about the
I mean,
on-court
you can wear
product.
our jerseys to the club. It's
Yeah.
like no one gives a fuck about that.
I hate the Nets, dude.
Yeah.
Anywho,
Can't stand
tell me how you
them.
really feel.
I can't stand them.
Well, crap. I guess I don't know. Do you want to keep talking COVID? I'd be happy to move on. I feel like we've freaking everybody's heard
Oh,
enough about the COVID NBA.
let's bring out. I do want to mention that Chalmers is back in the league as well. Mario Chalmers
True,
back with the Heat. That's freaking hot.
true.
Another player I never thought I'd see again that I'm happy to see again. Um,
I have a segue. Do you want to keep doing? Sorry to
no,
just
go
keep
for it.
coming
I just
off.
wanted to bring up Chalmers.
I was just gonna say
Shumpert needs
research.
to get back in the league.
True. Instead of just talking shit on LeBron all the time and those freaking.
Hey,
But no,
we
I'm
love you,
talking about
Shump.
resurgent players, kind of due to COVID, but in a different way. It's Kevin Love. I mean, I know it's a small sample size where he's kind of was reinserted into the starting lineup with some of their COVID protocols and injuries and stuff. But I mean, he's got to be one of the biggest feel good stories of the season. Was he kicked out of Team USA for being just not up
Not
for the
giving a fuck.
challenge? Yeah, I mean, he just
I
wasn't
don't know.
there to do what they needed him to do. But then, and again, God dang it, we're talking Cavs basketball.
Yeah, it's
again.
Cavs talk, dude. We can't not.
I really didn't want to.
I'm
But it's
glad we
just
did.
hard not to, dude. Like, it's
They
hard not
stole
to
her
feel
winning.
great about Kevin Love. Like, you know, early career, he's empty stats, bad team guy, has a hard time shaking that rep, goes to Cleveland, plays next to LeBron. Seems like that, there were some really highs of that time period, but there was also some really low lows.
Mhm.
And then, after that, trying to find his footing on a rebuilding roster. And there was all the, him like pouting on court and throwing temper tantrums when those young guards wouldn't give him the ball. But, it's all coming together this season. And he's we're kind of seeing him wind the clock back, I guess, he's been playing out of his mind the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, somehow he's a max player again.
Yeah. And he went from like I feel like the day he signed that extension, they were like untradeable contract. They just knew. And it's like, okay,
not so fast, motherfucker.
I think every team would be happy to have a Kevin Love if he's playing like this. So just another feel good story. Sorry to just keep monopolizing it. One more thing I wanted to bring up. The Chicago Bulls are currently in sole possession.
Dead ball, Zach. Get it right, dude.
My bad. This is pretty much the new Bulls era. They got the new Jordan, they got the new Pippen.
DeRozan's better than Jordan.
DeRozan and Levine, dude. These are two dudes I've been repping for a long time. Good to see them finally. They were both. Well, DeRozan was limited game, couldn't adjust, playoff choker. Levine was empty stats, doesn't contribute to winning basketball. That's both those guys carried those reputations for a long, long time. So, all the people that trashed them for years are now like, they don't like to come to terms with all the things they've said in the past. But I don't know. I like to think that Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan have been listening all these years and heard the criticism, and they get their kind of moment in the sun. So,
do you think? Do you put any stock in the DeMar DeRozan MVP campaign?
If they end up with a 1 seed, he deserves to be on the ballot. He deserves to be. If he keeps playing the way he is, another theme I kind of wanted to bring up in this is player evolution and kind of the way the modern NBA forces you to do that. But DeMar DeRozan was, a Kobe light was kind of his ceiling at one point. And now he's like a world beater playmaker. He plays a lot of time at the 4. Obviously he's never going to be the defender that people hoped he could become. Not to say he ever had any great potential on that end of the ball, but it seems like he's never even really crossed the plane into like average or above average consistently.
Oh, I've been saying it for a long time. DeRozan's actually better than Michael Jordan, so I'm not surprised by these game winners, these performances.
Yeah, back-to-back game winners,
first time NBA history on back-to-back days. Which is crazy. They're both tough as shit. One of them happened to the Pacers, which I feel bad for. But of course, fucker's crazy, dude. And it's been like that. He's been that way for years, dude. He's been that dude for years.
Yeah. What do you put any stock in his MVP candidacy?
It would take a lot of things breaking right, in my opinion. Like the Bulls will have to have the 1 seed. I don't think there's any I don't see any universe where they have the 2 seed.
And the odds of them holding that are.
Yeah. And then also the Warriors are going to have to slow down, and which who knows if that's going to happen. And then I don't know what they would do with the Suns. I don't know. Who do you think that would be the most likely to receive it on the Suns? CP3 or Devin Booker?
I think it's still going to be the same issue of last year. I think both those players are so good that and I'm sure the Bulls will run into this at the end of the season too, but it's just like, you got 2 guys kind of leading, I don't know. I just feel like inevitably it goes back to the Steph KD stuff of they were always discounted in MVPs.
Right.
Wait,
you're saying that will happen to the Bulls because of Levine?
I guess it seems like
Levine,
happens.
Let's be real here, dude. Levine is playing all NBA level, and
he did last year though.
Yeah, but I'm saying though, it's that has
you would hope so. I think they're deserving, but I think that because they are both in theory similar players and they both have kind of a negative reputation, I think they're going to get discounted when it comes time for season awards. I hope they both get all-stars. I hope they get a long look at all NBA. Kind of be shocked if
I just don't know how realistic it is, because if I really sit and think about it, I think if I had to put money on it, I would say Levine finishes higher in terms of all NBA. I could see Levine being all NBA second team, DeMar being all NBA third team. And how the fuck are you going to give the MVP to an all NBA third team player and not the all NBA second team player?
Well, yeah, that's just
I feel like it's just a narrative thing, because DeMar's been really clutch lately, and which is that's awesome, that's great. But I think at the end of the day, people would say Levine's our best player, which maybe that's it. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not, but I think that's kind of those are the trade wins to me. Hey, Levine is the guy on that team.
Yeah. Well, it's like, and it reminds me too, we'll have to spend just 2 minutes on this later, but like the Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, it's like when you have, I feel like, and maybe this is just totally me making stuff up, which is a very real possibility, but like if you have a team that has a big and a point guard and they're both playing, at a really high level, there's no overlap in those skill sets. So I feel like they'll get evaluated
Unless your center
more
is LeBron.
fairly. Well, yeah, I mean, that throws a monkey wrench into the whole fucking thing.
I just kidding.
But I just feel like when guys have somewhat redundant skill set, like there's a reason why they were like scratching their head about the DeRozan fit. It's because they were like, oh, he's redundant with Levine. There was like people were giving them a very low grade coming out of the offseason for the money that they gave DeMar.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I mean, ultimately, like, we have a different criteria than the people that actually vote for these awards. I think if you're just looking at talent alone, I mean, I would have made the case 4 years ago for Levine getting this recognition because he's always been a high volume, high efficiency. I've always thought of him as like
4 years ago. Was that his last year on the T-Wolves?
Could have been. I think so. That would line up with his contract. But I don't know, man.
T-Wolves.
I don't know. I just hope that they get some consideration for some awards. It's crazy. Levine's averaging 26 a game on 50, 42, 85, and he's 26 years old. Like that's
so crazy. He's 26.
Some guys at 26 have 2 more levels to go.
He feels like he's been in the league for 15 years.
Yeah, because he's been dynamite since he came in the league, dude. I've been trying to tell
I
people.
wouldn't go that far.
I mean, it's like we all knew where the NBA was going in 2016. High volume,
shooting trays,
high volume, high efficiency 3-point shooters. As much as the game has done DeMar DeRozan a disservice.
No, but I think we're downplaying how good Levine is. He's not just a high volume, high efficiency 3-point.
Of course. But like, I feel like the game moved in a direction that was like, oh, I'm already good at this. Boom. Like, where guys like, DeRozan had to find other ways. They couldn't just keep doing what they were doing. Like he had to become, a playmaker as opposed to a ball stopping wing. So,
yeah.
But anyways, enough Bulls talk, I guess.
They Balzac.
Now that we mentioned Jaylen and Jason Tatum, I feel
like they're becoming like the name on the marquee every week reads Cleveland Cavaliers, and then like right below them on the marquee is talk about Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. It's only happened twice.
It's Bulls, Cavs, Celtics, and then whatever team we're feeling more homerism about that week. But I mean, they're 18 and 19. Seems like they can't get everyone healthy at the same time. Chemistry seems weird. If you're Brad Stevens, do you trade Jaylen Brown? Do you try to pull the trigger on a Ben Simmons, De'Aaron Fox? Is it
what
time?
Would you do? I mean, I think we talked about this last time. I think we maybe like this team is constructed they've peaked.
What move would you make if you were them?
I don't know, unless I think they can like really reconstruct the roster around Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. I don't see it. Like I forget who I was listening to the other day, but they're like, you don't hear I think it was Zach Lowe. It's like the amount of weird stories you've heard about this team.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it's on a consistent basis, and it's been like this.
Always.
They have more. It was like they have the most players only meetings, more players only meetings than any other team. There's always like, I hate to use the term subtweeting, but like subliminal, shots going back and forth.
Marcus Smart and Schroeder taking shots at Jaylen Brown taking shots at Horford. This stuff, and this isn't even. I mean, that's just 3 instances from this year. They have a history of that going back 2 to 3 years with the subtweeting. I feel like.
Yeah, so it's like, I mean, they can keep doing this, and they're not. I mean, do you see any like there is no pathway? I mean, but this is the thing though, is like in the NBA. 90% of the teams, there's no pathway to winning a title. There's like all the time. Like there's no way. You have like unless you literally luck
injury
luck, or like you luck into a really good pick one year and you still have a really good team, or you like tank and really get generational talent and build from that. how many teams actually just like rebuild on the fly and like, or they're like, oh, we went from being a mediocre 500 team to a championship team by trading one of our players for a couple
Yeah.
good players.
I'm trying to
I mean,
think.
I guess the Bulls would be a good example of like how to do it the right way. Like savvy
Yeah.
signings, good draft picks. They've
Yeah. I mean,
done.
they traded Jimmy Butler for Levine, and I think the pick that became Pat Williams, and then,
And
yeah,
like
just made
DeRozan
savvy
obviously is a great
decisions.
signing. Lonzo's a decent contract.
Caruso,
But
Kobe White's a
Vooch,
good pick.
but we did talk about how it could get kind of hairy for them the next couple of years if they don't win a title. Like it'll be hard to keep. But then that goes back to the same conversation we had about, well, Vooch isn't going to get paid the same amount with his contract. Anyway,
Yeah. Well, no. What do you do if you're the Celtics? Then you. It sounds like you're saying, hey, as constructed, this is a no-go. So do you just say,
I would have, but I mean, I felt the same way 2 years ago.
yeah,
Like but the thing is, it's like, it's so hard because at the end of the day, can you improve your team? Can you improve your team by trading Jaylen Brown? And I mean, maybe, I don't know. Have you heard any scuttlebutt on like what potential trade packages might be? Like, I don't know if
well, I mean,
Ben Simmons would not make it Boston. I don't think that motherfucker. I don't think he can handle Boston.
yeah, but I mean, there's also like not to be devil's advocate, but it's like there's the flip side of like Boston. They're pretty down on their luck. They could see him as like, this is the guy we need to rally behind. Like, I know that sports fans are stupid and are going to do stupid shit, and Ben Simmons is probably going to get harassed, and there's a very real chance that he might never be able to return to the player that he once was due to this. But like, I don't know, there's a chance that they embrace him or wherever the next place is, just because of how like tumultuous his way out of Philly was. They might see him as like, this guy we need to build up. Again, I don't think sports fans usually do that on the aggregate. Maybe some of them do, but there's going to be a lot of local sports fans that are just like, they just want wins and losses, and they're not going to care so much about Ben Simmons' feelings. But the reason I like to throw out that one is just because the salaries are a natural fit. The timelines are a natural fit. Like,
well, what do you think they should do? They need to trade Jaylen Brown, do you think?
I think they need to choose, and this is where I'm probably wrong and I can't get over my bias. I would trade Jason Tatum.
I knew you were going to say that shit.
I think Jaylen Brown is 99% of the player he is. I actually think Jaylen Brown's better, but maybe Tatum can give you a little bit more versatility, but I also think he has higher trade value. I think he's a year or two younger. And I do really believe in Jaylen Brown. And the other thing I would look at is trade Marcus Smart. I know he signed an extension and he's not trade eligible for like another 2 weeks, and I obviously not plugged into the Celtics beat at all. I've never even been no shot, but like, I just get the feeling that he is just done there, dude. Like, I feel like he stirs the pot. I feel like he's been a contributor to kind of that thing we were talking about, that weird black cloud that hangs over Boston. I think part of that always goes back to, I think he thinks he can do more than they want him to do. And I think that's been a source of tension there.
But I think that goes back to, it's hard to say this because, like, again, I don't know anything, but like, there's like this constant, it seems like there's this threat of like no leadership. And Horford, from everything I understand, Horford is a great locker room guy, but I don't know how much of a leader he is. And I mean, it's just the thing. It's like, it's the whole thing about Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. It's like, neither of them really seems like that, like, alpha dog leader guy. And I feel like guys like Marcus Smart can be really effective when they are in a spot where they understand what's being asked of them.
Yeah,
and not to say that he's not, but there's just no leadership. There hasn't been.
Well,
leadership.
yeah, I feel like Marcus Smart needs to have like a true A1 LeBron, KD, Kawhi on his team. Otherwise, like, and maybe I'm just like projecting too much onto Marcus Smart. Maybe I project his play. I think I project his play style onto his personality because he seems that way to me. But it just seems like, I mean, how many times has he just taken a god awful shot, clutch possession in a playoff game, and you're just like 16 seconds on the shot clock, didn't even like, I don't know. There's something that needs to change there.
I think though that I excuse Marcus Smart for a lot of his sports because for the same reason
nobody plays harder than him.
Yeah, for the same reason you excuse Russ. It's like, if you're going to make some bonehead plays, that's fine because you're going to you're always going to be the first one on the ground. You're going to be drawing charges. You're going to be stealing the ball. You're going to be blocking 6'9" players.
Yeah, if there's one
because you're
guy
just
who
tough
gets
and
to say, "Hey, I need you guys to match my fucking level," it's the energy guy.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, and
that's
it's an
fair.
energy guy who's that effective,
Mhm.
who like plays that hard all the time. It's like, well, yeah, maybe he's the best leader on that team. So I'm like, well, and I think that I don't know. Again, and I'm talking like I know these people. I don't know them, but it just seems to me like Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum aren't really alpha dogs to me, which I hate even talking
Mhm.
about this because I have no idea. They probably both fucking alpha dogs, and it's just hard to win in the NBA. Like that's what it
Yeah,
comes down to.
honestly,
But
that's
I
good
just feel like,
perspective.
yeah, I don't know, man. You know, I don't know. I mean, it's been
Well,
too
not
much of the same results.
this could also be a sins of our father thing because, like, right now, the cool thing to do is to, well, it's got to be Brown or Tatum. Like, they're the issue here. I swear to God, 4 months ago, it was like everybody was just like, myself included, was like, let's shit on everything the Celtics front office has done wrong for the last 4 years. It's
Agreed.
like some of it controllable, some of it wasn't controllable. I really believe that. I think they ran into some really unfortunate luck, but I also think that they made some mistakes along the way. But it's like they've had 4 years of bad luck and somewhat poor decision making where they've let money walk out the door for nothing repeatedly. This is the end product of that. You let assets walk away, you run it back with Al Horford, who, like, I I understand, like, you want to win now, you want to bring like a presence into the locker room, but it's just like that's not the move after you let so many guys walk out. It's not bringing aging like
Well, we have to give
Al
credit to Al
Horford
Horford though, because he's
chasing.
playing well. He's playing well this year.
Yeah, but he's not the Al Horford of 3 or 4 years ago that they
But that's
need.
the thing is like I think that the expectation was going into the season that Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown would contribute more to winning basketball, and they wouldn't
Mhm.
need Al Horford to be the third
Yeah,
of a big three. It's like, no, this should be Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown winning games, and a solid supporting cast should allow them to win games. But that has proven to not be the case.
yeah,
And
that's fair.
obviously they have some weaknesses in terms of depth and stuff. But like, I don't know. I think that they are. I think it's fair to expect more of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown based on their reputations and based on
That's
the
fair.
credit they get. And like people, how people talk about Jason Tatum at the end of the last season. It's like, uh, or like maybe it was, I forget, the season where he's just going off in like the second half of the season. It's like people talk about him like he's a top 5 player in the league when he's on. It's like, win some games, then it's on you, Jason Tatum.
Yeah, I mean, and
And if Jaylen
again,
Brown really is like a true like 1B sidekick, like I think
which he
he
has
has
the
that
perfect
ability.
skill set for
Yeah, it's like,
too.
well, win some games then. So
Yeah.
I think they're both just not as good as everybody says they are, which is what it really boils down
No, it's just Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown's perfect. Shut up, dude. Um,
to.
no,
Oh,
but if you're trading one of them, to me, the most logical ones look like Ben Simmons, De'Aaron Fox. Are you a Ben Simmons, or do you try to go for De'Aaron Fox plus parts?
De'Aaron Fox.
Gotcha.
I mean, I think De'Aaron Fox needs to change the scenery, and I think that
I feel like
I don't know.
all these guys, the 4 guys we've discussed, I think they all do. I think, yeah.
Yeah, it's just interesting though, because like if the Kings were to take back Jaylen Brown, it's like, well, I don't know. It's just because I feel like it seems like Tyrese Halliburton is ready to take on a larger role and is like
Hmm.
clearly proven he's a good NBA player. So it's like Darren Fox has been there. It hasn't, he's played well there. I'm sure he's done nothing to me, from my perspective, he's done nothing but like embrace Sacramento and be a great teammate and player
Yeah.
there. But I mean, Sacramento until the end of time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't
Until
know
they
why they
move
don't
that
shake it up.
franchise. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's another
Wait,
theme. I
so what
feel
was your
like
answer? What would you do?
I
What
would,
would Jutsu?
I would look at like Schroeder.
Jutsu.
Well, they're not going to pick Brown over Tatum. I think that's
Absolutely not. There's no way.
obvious. Um, I think they'll eat
No
crow on
matter
that
how
in the
right
long
it
run.
is.
Yeah. I would say move off Schroeder, move off Jaylen Brown, try and get whatever you can plus Ben Simmons back. I think there's an argument to be made that Jaylen Brown has higher trade value than Ben Simmons right now. I don't think that's unreasonable. Now,
that's
does
not
Daryl
crazy.
Morey see it that way? Who knows?
No, it's
That
not.
guy's delusional.
It's not Shaq, Wilt, Jordan, and LeBron wrapped into one, dude. It ain't gonna work.
Yeah. No, it's just a guy who's afraid to shoot a layup.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I would probably lean in that direction. Try to get Ben Simmons, Jason Tatum, and just say, these are our two guys. They are a little bit less redundant than, and I don't know. I guess that's the direction I would go, but I could also see them just saying, hey, we chose Brown and Tatum. That's what we're doing. So who knows?
Yeah.
I guess there's one other kind of topic of the day that I wanted to bring up off the top of my head. And that's just, and we've talked about it through text. I couldn't help myself. The evolution here. And I know he was never truly a two guard, but for him to come in the league as a two guard who he wasn't raw. He was obviously super talented, but to see all the iterations of his career, and now we have this center point guard LeBron starts games at centers as a primary ball handler, but he's also one of the best 3-point shooters in the league. I did some numbers today, and
it's like Jokic.
Yeah, I mean, I compared him to I compared him to the other, like the top 50 high volume 3-point shooters in the league, and he ranked top 16 in terms of like efficiency. So for him to be a top 15 shooter while playing center and also being a point guard,
the center thing has not been for that long. Well, let's not.
It's a recent development, but the early returns are good. And Vogel and the Lakers brass have, and reports in the media, I should say, have hinted that they're going to have two centers that are going to play for them the rest of the season.
Yeah, maybe Anthony Davis could get his ass off the bench and play a game.
About time. They need it. But
yeah, LeBron shouldn't have to play center.
Seriously,
Anthony Davis.
But I just wanted to point that out. I mean, I know stories like this don't register because the modern NBA, like we alluded to with DeRozan, it forces people into, the whole way the game's played has changed over the course of LeBron's career. But for him to still be able to dominate the game at the age of 37, after changing everything, the entire way he plays the game. I mean, to me, this season is like LeBron and his whole career in a nutshell. Not to mention he's carrying a bunch of scrubs. They're like, he's trying to succeed in spite of his teammates. This to me feels like, obviously you want every LeBron season to end raising a banner, but for the Lakers season to go this depressingly, I've never felt more positively about LeBron and never believed in him more. So
yeah.
What he's doing is unreal. Nobody will talk about it. But it's just crazy. He's a center, dude. These last handful of games. That should never happen. A guy to start all 5 positions in his career, and not just a spot start like Magic Johnson. Sorry to just keep going, but this blows my fucking mind, and nobody is saying a word about it. I mean, they'll bring up the center stuff, but it's like the shooting too. I'm just like, I don't know. What's next for LeBron? Where could he even go from here? He's done everything you can do in the NBA.
It's just crazy that he's like, I don't know if it's fair to say. I mean, yeah, he's changing his game to make the same impact but play differently. And I would say I'm still confident that he was a better player Cleveland and Miami, but he's still impacting the game in a huge way. And, obviously he's taking more threes, he's taking less free throws. But yeah, I don't know. It's just, people have been saying he's going to fall off for 4 or 5 years now. And it's like,
they've been begging for it, dude.
Yeah.
Shouts out to Bill Simmons, dude.
Yeah.
Okay,
I don't know. There's really, yeah. There's nothing left to say about LeBron, dude. Although we could say everything. For another 10 hours about it.
I really needed to bring that up though, just because that's blows my mind. That's video game stuff.
But the thing is it's still so depressing because it's like, was it last night they played the T-Wolves without deloading and Cat barely won? I'm just like, holy fuck, what's it gonna take?
Win's a win at the end of the season when you're trying to eke out freaking play-in advantages. take it. But yeah, like you said, even the wins they've had with LeBron at center, maybe that's why people aren't talking about it so much, is that
And beat the
they haven't
Rockets.
improved all that. Like they
Yeah.
didn't
They're
look like
beating bad teams.
gangbusters.
Yeah.
Not like he magically taught Russell Westbrook how to play basketball or taught all these scrubs how to shoot a fucking basketball.
Yeah.
So I don't know. They still have the same issues, but it's been a fun development. And
Yeah, it's
we're
just
spoiled.
another...
If you're a LeBron fan, you're spoiled this year. Make sure you watch some games, especially if you can catch him at center, because who knows how long that'll stick around.
That's crazy.
But
I wanted to talk about the Rockets, dude. And I'm sure you've heard the Kevin Porter stuff and the Christian Wood stuff. What do you think about that?
so I literally just know the repercussions. I don't really know what happened. Do you have an inside scoop? I mean, all I know is that what did they play?
Well, Christian Wood, I guess, missed like a COVID testing time slot, and
Okay.
and then, but from everything I've heard, and like he just seems like a bad teammate and like a me first guy, and like I don't know if you remember, there was that time where he had like a good game, and he had the post game interview on TNT. I think it was Shaq said his name wrong, and he was like, "You don't watch basketball, Shaq." So like, he was like confrontational to like Shaq, who's all time legend and great.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the
Yeah,
fact
what
that
the fuck's a Christian Wood? He shouldn't know your name. You're a scrub.
Exactly.
Compared,
Yeah. So it's like
you'll never touch. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I mean, if he wasn't a classic high usage bad team, like he would still nobody give a fuck about him either. And so like that just like really rubbed me the wrong way. Even
He's
though
not,
like
I mean,
there are points though. It's like the inside the NBA guys, like, some of the stuff. I mean, I'm not going to criticize it. They're all great, but there's like you'll see on like NBA Reddit or Pistons Reddit or Pelicans Reddit, like, oh man, our GM sucks because we don't have Christian Wood.
Christian Wood. We lost.
But it's like,
Christian Wood.
I would rather not have a guy like Christian Wood and lose 2 more games than have a guy like Christian Wood and who like just is just like a me first destroyer. Yeah, I'm not saying he's destroying the locker room, but
there's enough data points pointing towards him being a young guy who needs to figure out and mature to be like a really actually successful player in this league. We've seen that story a million times. Sometimes it works out and the guy figures it out. Sometimes it doesn't. And this guy's a flash in the pan and he'll be, lucky to like, this might be his last contract. Like and I don't want to like talk about somebody else's like money or their career, but it's like, we've seen these stories in the NBA of these guys with, some character issues. Some guys turn around, some guys don't. I hope he can, but I mean, I wouldn't want him on the Pacers. You wouldn't want him on the Pelicans. I feel like that's telling.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Like,
absolutely not.
He's got a lot to prove before I put like before I treat him like a net positive on your team.
I don't care how many 2010s you rack up for a team that wins 20 games. If you're gonna behave like this, like
he's a great fantasy player.
Yeah.
That's about it though at this point.
Kevin Porter, he got into a screen match with John Lucas.
Okay, that was with John Lucas.
John Lucas is the OG, who
one of the most respected men in the
and he's been there and mentored so many great players, and it's like, who the fuck are you, Kevin Porter, to like sit here? Like all these greats who came back and did talk back to John Lucas. What makes you think? And like, I don't want to ride Kevin Porter too hard because he seems to have a lot of things going on with him, and who knows what's going on in his personal life. He seems to have stuff that he needs to work on, but it's just like unacceptable. If you're trying to rebuild a franchise, which it looks like the Rockets are trying to do, me first guys like that kill building a winning culture, I feel like. And Eric Gordon, dude, who knew Eric Gordon was going to be the beacon of hope there,
right? Well, and I just wanted to add, like with players like Kevin Porter, most NBA fans want to see the feel good story. We want to see them like, what I'd much rather hear. Kevin Porter Jr. is living at John Lucas's house, and like I want to see Kevin Porter unlock his talent because he's a very talented player. But I hate to hear these things where it's like you always want to hear the good version of it, but no, it's had a falling out with coaches, dismissed from the team, not playing the next game. It's just like, I don't know, man. These stories are just makes me sad. You want to see these players succeed. You want every story to be happy unless it involves the Warriors. So
exactly. Good call. Thank you for
important caveat. I
qualifying that. Yeah.
Throw in there.
Fuck them, dude.
But no, I mean, I guess where else do you want to go? Did you say you had some trivia?
Yeah, I got some. It's been a while since I came correct with the
Tanner's
basketball
trivia
reference.
corner.
Yeah, no Dana Barros tonight, but there's some fun stuff nonetheless. Apologies for me looking down here. I didn't write it. Well, even if I had a pad, I'd be looking down. Where should I start here? One thing I wanted to get your opinion on is I was just looking at the all-time steals per game leaders, like on a season basis.
Oh, like single season highest.
Yeah, yeah, and I was just looking at it and like, okay, so I'm not going to read every single, every single season,
Mhm.
but you're looking at the all-time seasons, mid 3 per game, 3 per game, high 2 per game. The reason I brought this up though is I'm scrolling. The most recent, like the 23rd,
Most steals per game for a season.
yeah, the 23rd
Highest mark for steals per game.
Yeah, 23rd highest mark for steals per game in a season. The first time that occurred in the 2000s was the 23rd slot.
Oh, so it must have been those like 80s, 90s guard or 80s
like,
guards with all those possessions, right? Because
yeah,
they played really fast, some teams back then.
yeah,
right?
but even then though, like there's players from the 90s, like when it started to slow down.
Oh, hand checking and more physical perimeter defense. I mean,
See, that's what I was gonna.
You could mug guys and bully them out there and just take the ball sometimes.
I know, but the thing is like it's fast paced now, and there's a lot of. I keep scrolling. So Larry Hughes, he had the 23rd highest mark for steals per game in the season in 0405. That's the only person in the 2000s in the top 25.
That is pretty surprising.
And then if you keep scrolling down, AI had 2.8 in 0102. And so you keep scrolling, AI had 2.74 in 0203. Chris Paul had 2.71 in 0708. The first instance, I'm going to keep scrolling. The first instance in the 2010s is the 76th ranked season, 2.53 steals per game, Chris Paul.
Wow. That is shocking.
Chris Paul did it again in 13-14, had 2.48. That's the 90th best season. And so Chris Paul is the only person to have done it in the 2010s in the top 100. And that's just weird to me. Why has that happened where steals per game has went down so far in terms of like what we expect out of a league leader?
As like team stat, like I wonder how many steals were in the average. I wonder if it's like style of play, pace of play.
I should do some more
rule changes.
Because I was looking to doing this. I was similarly looking at blocks. Like that makes more sense because less people attack the paint now, so you're not getting like Mark Eaton 5 blocks a fucking game. Yeah. Although like there's still been some impressive ones. Like I saw,
Surge
one.
Young Surge.
Hassan Whiteside had a really good year too. But it's like I'd expect that, but there was a bigger drop off. Like there's a bigger disparity in steals between modern era and 90s, 80s, 90s than there were for blocks, which I wouldn't expect that.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if like all things, it's probably a combination of factors, but like we're talking about like there's less feeding the ball in for post touches, so maybe guards can double down less. They have to stay attached to their shooters more.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder, I don't know, because like it's not like every steal in the 70s and 80s was like perimeter defender, just like poke.
Yeah, exactly.
Like more to it than that. Yeah, I don't know. The lost art of the steal, dude.
I watch a fucking Lakers game. I think everybody in the league should average 7 steals a game. For all the turnovers they have, Jesus Christ.
They make every team look like 12 TJ McConnells, dude.
Yeah, a bunch of Alvin Robertsons in this man.
Seriously. No, that's kind of crazy. You said the first one from the 2010s was in the 70s?
I think so, yeah, CP3.
That's crazy. I would have guessed CP3 would have been multiple instances in like the top 30. I really would have.
Yeah, he had like I think 3 or 4 instances in the top 100.
Wow.
All right, next one. Let us take a moment to shit on offensive rating and how terrible the stat is.
True.
I have the all-time single season leaders for offensive rating up. Number 1, Rudy Gobert this season.
Best offensive player ever, dude. Everybody would tell you that.
Number
Isn't
2,
that what offensive rating should be?
Yeah. Number 2, Zubac from last season. So the second greatest off season ever in terms of offensive ratings, Ivica Zubac. Zubac from last year. Then we have Montrez, White Pal, Zubac again. And 2 years ago, Tyson Chandler, Enos Freedom, Clint Capella, Tyson Chandler, Rudy Gobert, Jared Allen, Rashawn Holmes, Horace Grant in 9192. So Horace Grant is the first one not in the 2010s or later. And so again, James Donaldson, which I want to look into that one because that's cool to see James Donaldson's name on this. Jarrett Allen, Mikal Bridges is here, which is kind of interesting as being a perimeter.
It's usually the
player.
big. Well, yeah, and just for I guess the people at home that don't have like a big advanced stats lexicon, I believe offensive rating is the amount of points your team scores while you're on the court per 100 possessions. So,
no, that's funny because I thought it was you just take all the random centers in the league and you put their name in a hat and then you just draw them out and assign a number to them.
Oh, right.
So
that's really what it turns out. That's pretty much how it turns out. No, I mean, offensive rating and defensive rating are so stupid because you're taking a lineup adjusted stat and trying to make like broad statements about individual players. So like I still look at that stuff and it still registers for me, but it's like, if you're going to base your whole opinion on a player on those, be careful.
Well, you say that until now. Reggie Miller has the 28th season in 90-91.
The fact that he's not number one makes me question it.
Well, no, that's crazy. Dude, Antonio Daniels in 03-04 is a 30. This is just fucking crazy to me. Like Biedrins is 43, had the 43rd best season in terms of this. There's just some wackiness going on.
Well, it's like Gobert should break it because the Jazz are running one of the most efficient offenses ever. And they're scoring at a clip that I think is like the highest in NBA history. I think they have the highest offensive rating. So he just gets to be a big that gets to play with, and he does contribute to that, like his rim running, the way he sets up in their offense is the famed Utah Jazz screen assist, the only fan base that captures that stat as religiously as they do. But no, I mean, it's kind of shocking. It's still shocking to hear it, even though you kind of know these things. It's like, well, James Donaldson, like Zubac, he should be nowhere near any all-time leader. Like he's a good player, serviceable role player, but.
And it's interesting to me too that like Reggie has 3 instances on the list before Jordan has his first. And so that's just very interesting to me. That Jordan's first instance on this list is 90. He has the 91st best season in terms of offensive rating.
Sheesh.
That should be an automatic disqualifier of this stat.
True.
No, I'm dead serious. Like you're stupid.
I mean, it like, I'll be honest, like I stopped using rating so much.
Ronnie Brewer, 131, dude.
Oh, F yeah. Is he Arkansas Razorback?
Yeah.
That's hot.
This stat is so fucking horseshit. Makes me want to vomit.
Well, and the other thing is like it only benefits bigs somehow. Because like
Reggie Miller.
Even in defensive rating, that's how it works.
Well, no, George Hill has the 19th best. That takes some serious effing.
Yeah, that's
randomization number assignment to get George Hill up there.
Seriously, to get that pipsqueak up there.
Yeah.
Dang.
Anyway, I just wanted to take a moment to shit on that because it's stupid.
Yeah. This is a disclaimer to anybody out there perusing Basketball Reference or other advanced stat sites. Don't look at offensive rating or defensive rating as your
ever. No, don't waste your time.
Take it in, but it should be about 1% of the way you value a player. But yeah, there's some crazy weird outliers there. I like the trivia corner, dude. You're like you're fact checking the whole NBA statistics world, dude. You're like, some ain't right here.
Yeah, it's all horse shit. And then the last thing I wanted to bring up was I was looking at the single season all-time single season records for usage rate.
Ooh. Luka, Russ, Harden.
Yeah, so Russ in 16-17
Harden,
had the
Luka.
Russ, Harden, Kobe is the top 3.
Was it the 35 points a game year that Kobe did that, you think?
0506. That
Yep.
sounds right.
Yep. That's the one. I'm pretty sure.
Then Russ, Jordan, AI, Giannis, Luca, DeMarcus, James Harden, Dwayne Wade, Joe Neal, Harden, Jordan,
Joe Neal shouts out.
Luca, Doncic, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, that's not the point. There's a lot of expected people on here, right?
Mm-hmm.
One that kind of was interesting to me and fun, but wasn't all that unexpected was Stackhouse as the 26th highest rated season in
Didn't he have that?
2001.
Yeah, didn't he drop like 30 a game that year? 30,
Stackhouse's
29.6 or 32?
Stackhouse's peak year.
God
But
dang.
the first one that really caught my eye was Freeman Williams. I do not know who Freeman Williams is.
Oh, fuck.
And it happened in 80-81. And
wait, I got to fact check myself. Stackhouse average 29.8, not 29.6. Fucking idiot.
Okay, fuck you, asshole. To put this in perspective, Giannis's usage rate this year is 0.04 less than Freeman Williams, and Freeman Williams is highest. So I clicked on Freeman Williams because I'm like, who the fuck is Freeman Williams?
Is this?
This happened in 80-81. In 80-81, he played 24 minutes per game. 24 minutes per game and had this usage rate. In 24 minutes per game, he was shooting 17 shots per game.
Are you? No.
Yeah, for the San Diego Clippers. Shot 46.5 from the field, 34% from three. He only shot 1.7 per game. So I'm like, okay, not bad.
It's probably above average league efficiency.
Yeah, 85% from the line. Average 1.5 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 2 turnovers. Average 19 per game. So then I was looking at that.
Wait, you said how many minutes?
24.
He averaged 19 a game in 24 minutes.
Yeah, it was like it's crazy, dude. He was shooting 17 times a game in 24 minutes. And then I was looking at that Clippers roster. They finished 5th in the Pacific Division. Paul Silas was their coach, interestingly enough.
Dang.
That must have been like right after Paul Silas finished.
Yeah, he must have been pretty fresh.
But they had Henry Bibby, who I believe is Mike Bibby's dad.
Yep.
They also had other names I noticed on the team. Swin Nader, who I remember from, I read it. He was a large fixture in the ABA, I believe.
Okay.
Like, I don't know if you read the book Loose Balls by Terry Pluto.
Not yet, no.
I believe he's up in that. Gar Hurd, who would go on to be a front office for the Bulls, right?
Yep.
Jelly Bean Bryant was on the team.
Dang.
So, but all intents and purposes, not a good team. But I'd never heard of Freeman Williams, and he had that high of a usage rate on just a middling team.
Yeah,
I just thought that was interesting.
Kind of surreal, dude. Like, I just pulled it up over here, but to lead your team in scoring and be average 6th
24 minutes a game.
He's literally their 6th man, if not their 7th man. Like,
yeah, but I mean,
wow.
Lou Williams literally just did that for the Clippers, did he not? And so that led me to pulling up Lou Williams.
Yeah, but I feel like he was probably getting more than 24 minutes a night.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at, I forget what year Lou Williams won 6 man. You could probably, God,
he did it a few times, didn't he?
In 18-19, Lou Williams averaged 26 minutes per game and shot up 15 times a game. So this guy was even more of a chucker than Lou Williams.
By a considerable margin, because he's putting up 2 more shots in 3 less minutes.
Yeah, and
that's pretty. Talk about an interesting one.
And he averages less rebounds and less assists than Lou Williams. So he's literally just out there shooting the ball every time he touches.
Somebody on StatHead needs to go play around with those parameters for that season finder and find the most shots in the lowest minutes. I'd be interested to hear that, because if you just stumbled on the number 1, that'd be pretty crazy.
Well,
that'd be pretty crazy.
I mean, I wouldn't say I necessarily stumbled upon it. I was looking at the highest usage rate.
True.
So, I mean, it's kind of like
still
an educated stumble.
Dang. Nice find, dude. Nice find.
Yeah,
well done.
I thought that was funny. So, and then the other thing, I was going to quiz you on 5 categories. See if you get them. I'm looking at all-time Pacers career leaders.
All-time Pacers career leaders?
Yeah. Who leads the Pacers all-time in games played?
Oh, God. I mean, that
Don't
one.
overthink it.
That one has to be Reggie.
Yep. Got it.
No doubt.
Offensive rebounds.
No doubt about it. Ooh. Offensive boards only?
Mm-hmm. I'll give you. He's modern. Well, shouldn't say modern.
I have like a
He's
pocket pick that I want to go with that I feel like it's so stupid that I just
go with
shouldn't
it.
even do.
Just go with it.
No.
Go with
I
it.
want to say Jeff Foster, but
He's third by only 100 boards.
he never played enough to like, but he played it. Yeah, that's tough.
So he may there may I don't know if there was ever overlap between. Well, yeah, I think there might have been. I think this guy had multiple stints with the Pacers. And he might have overlapped with Jeff Foster on the second stint. Maybe I'm giving completely correct information.
Multiple stints.
Well,
That
let me
seems
just check
weird
it.
to
Let
me.
me just check it. Yep, multiple stints, and he definitely overlapped in one of them. Dang, my memory's off the fucking charts, dude. Off the charts.
Because the other two names like that I think of are Dale Davis and Jermaine O'Neal. And then it'd be like probably their ABA Daniels, Mel Daniels.
Mel Daniels. Okay, who are you going with? You're good. Well, Mel Daniels didn't play with Jeff Foster, so
Well, yeah, it can't be him. I mean, I'd have to go Dale Davis. Then.
Yeah, good work, dude. That's pretty fucking impressive. Assist. I don't know if you'll get this
one.
It surprised me when I saw it. But maybe it's not that surprising.
I feel like it's wrong, but I want to go with Mark Jackson.
He's third. This guy has him beat by about 1,000. Played with him though. In Indiana.
Well, there's only so many Pacers he played with, so it has to be Reggie.
Yeah, dude.
What?
It goes Reggie, Vern Fleming, Mark Jackson, Jamal Tinsley, Don Busey.
Okay, I literally, when you first asked the question, the first three names that popped in my head: Mark Jackson, Jamal Tinsley, Vern Fleming. No Reggie.
Yeah,
but I guess
crazy.
I mean, his longevity.
Yeah.
Not to mention he was like a fucking Iron Man. So it's like, yeah, 2 or 3 assists a night, not that much.
Adds up.
Do it for 20 years every night.
Can you guess
Dang.
steals? I bet you can guess steals.
I mean, I just want to say Reggie to everything now.
Reggie. Guess blocks.
I'm gonna say Joe Neal.
Yep. Good work, dude.
Where's Hibbert at?
Hibbert is
top 5, top 7.
Fourth. He's fourth on blocks. Yeah.
Respect,
And Miles Turner's only 23 behind him right now.
Yeah, if he doesn't get Miles Turner's fucking beast mode. I didn't think he'd be that high up already, though. Wow. I thought he'd be like top 5, but not like you're saying he's about to take over number 1?
No, he's taking over.
Okay.
Like we just said.
Yeah. Hibbert.
Hibbert. And Reggie Miller guesses. This will be the last question I'll leave you with, just because I was curious. Guess Reggie's all-time high in assists per game in the season.
Assists per game. What the fuck? 3.4?
4.
Dang, I was gonna go 3.6.
Dude, Reggie's career averages are 18.2, 3.0, and 3.0.
What a legend, dude. What a legend.
So
you know what, dude? And this will like someday we're gonna do the full Pacers podcast with the history, but if they wouldn't have been such a designed offense through the 90s, where I mean, if you look at like Reggie's shots per game, like the fact that they kept him as like a bit player in their offense and didn't just say Reggie's going to shoot as much as Reggie wants, it probably helped their team success and helped the team stick around. But man, he had a lot more to give. If he could have had a couple of years where
like Steph Curry, dude, like he'd still have records, dude.
Well, it's like, it's not even, I'll make the argument, he doesn't even need the chain off him like modern day NBA. If they would have just removed the chain this much more for say his 5-year peak, it would have been really interesting to see the type of numbers he could have put up. I think, because there was a lot more left that he could have given them. But again, one of his biggest values, like everybody talks about the gravity, but like Reggie Miller, for my money, Reggie Miller, Ray Allen, guys running around screens, exhausting, the best defenders on the other team. Like those guys are incredible. They had much bigger impact than box scores would suggest. Much in the way that Steph does now. I think that's
part of the reason like Reggie has is held in such high esteem. It's like you look at his stats like 18, 3 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, the modern, like, I don't know, people are like Reggie's a legend because obviously, he had the clutch moments and he was like a great player in big spots. But yeah, Reggie's a legend.
The thing that always jumps out at me, and it was in my years as like a degenerate NBA fan, and I still am, like I still very much play my favorites and stuff, but there was my toxic years as an NBA fan. I would die on the hill of Reggie was way better than Kobe. And I would base it just because advanced stats love Reggie Miller.
Well, yeah, we just heard it, dude. His offensive rating is off the chart.
The thing is, most advanced offensive metrics are only focused on the most efficient use of a possession, which means don't turn it over and shoot the ball efficiently. That's literally Reggie's entire skill set. So obviously,
dude, Rasul had one of those. He never turned the ball over. Because that was the thing, dude. Is like it sucks. A few years ago, I know we talked about this. He had the lowest turnover percentage in the history of the NBA. He was the best of all time at not turning the ball over in terms of possessions. And he's been taken over now by a few people. Like I think LaMarcus Aldridge is one of them, but it's just
crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting. Oh, by the way, we didn't mention when we were bringing back all the sweet motherfuckers who are back in the league for a split second. Greg Monroe, dude, needs to be mentioned.
Oh, shouts out!
Moose is back in the league. Dude. That's
Moose is loose, dude. Fuck yeah, and B Swizzy Brandon Knight.
Yeah,
granted, I think he entered protocols right after he dropped like 17 or whatever off the bench. I think he entered protocols the next day. But to see Brandon Knight, and I don't know if you watched his post game interview, but
you have it sent it to me after this, because he just seems like a dude who's grateful and like,
dude, and that's exactly what he was just like. Man, I'm just so thankful for this chance. I just wanted a chance. Like, those are type like. That's the type of stuff I'll be like I already liked Brandon Knight, but
everything we heard about him like back in the day, dude, is just like he's such an awesome guy and like he's so cool.
It really sucks that his career went the way it did because he's really forgotten. I feel like he was a promising young combo guard,
and I feel like he can play in this type of a game, and I don't know. I hope he sticks, dude.
Dude, there might be a Sean Livingston role for him, and I hate to draw those parallels just because, but. I mean, Sean Livingston is the best case scenario for what a career-ending injury looks like because that was a career-ending injury.
Yeah.
He came back. Not everybody would. So I don't know. That could be one of the silver linings of this whole COVID thing.
Dude, shout out to the OGs.
If
the guys from the era basketball we like.
Exactly, dude. The good old days, dude.
Yeah.
We actually probably grew up in the worst era of basketball. It was the pre-space and pace.
No, but now I look back on it and that's my favorite, dude.
Yeah,
I want less spacing. True. I want pound the paint. Dude.
I want Pistons Pacers. I want 74-68. I want joy to be had. I want
Shaq putting people in the basket.
Yeah. I don't want to see a smile.
Yeah. It's all ruined. It's ruined. Thank you, Steph.
It's ruined.
It's freaking ruined.
Well, I think we've gone about an hour. I don't want to cut you off.
No, we got to talk about a lot of things I want to talk about, and I'll have better trivia next time. I hungry.
You're doing great on the trivia. You had 3-1, dude. I'm gonna get me some Ichiraku ramen, dude.
Dude, they're 3-1. Believe it. Still not as good as the F and Dana Barros, dude. That's my favorite thing I've found.
I will say, what was his name? Freeman Williams.
Yeah.
That is a clutch find, though. To find that, very nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna do some digging, see what this dude's about. Because he had a pretty short career. I believe it was like 5 or 6 years before he was already overseas, and he came back.
Anytime I see those 80s players with just like 2 good years and then gone, I'm just like, drugs. Every time I just think it's the drug stuff.
We'll follow up on this point next week. Once
fingers crossed.
Hopefully he's just like, you know what? I wanted to focus on family, and I played overseas. I wanted to travel and see the world, and
I didn't want a free base.
And now he owns 12 car dealerships. And
come on, Freeman,
we got our fingers crossed.
Need a good one.
Come on, dude.
All right. Well, I guess that'll probably do it for this week.
Wax Chronicles.
Yes, sir. Be on the lookout, guys. We'll hopefully have some fun All-Star stuff coming up. See muscle,
Yeah.
where you at, dude?
Yeah. Yeah. We're gonna have to put some more weight. We're gonna have to put some wagers up for what's going on there and keep people filled in because you're gonna have to make up some ground. Sure, wagers ain't looking that good, dude. Hawks sucking dick. T Raw scoring 30.
Not ideal. Things aren't looking up. I'm down bad, as they say.
Anyway.
All right, cut it, dude.